You've probably studied English for years now, or even you've probably tried thousands of methods or ways on how to speak English fluently or how to get better in English speaking. Even though your other skills are perfect, probably your reading, writing, or even your listening skills are perfect. But when it comes to speaking in English, your mind goes completely blank, or probably you can't even express yourself a little bit in English, even though you've studied English for years now. However, the problem is not you, or it's not your IQ, talent, or intelligence level. It actually doesn't have to do with any of that. The actual problem lies with how you actually practice your English on a day-to-day basis. Meaning, the exact system that you use on a daily basis to practice your English every single day. You know, a lot of people, when they're practicing their English, they don't really have an exact system or an exact approach to practicing their English on a day-to-day basis. That's gonna trap a lot of people into thinking that if I practice my English every single day, then I can actually become fluent in English without actually having a realistic system or goal to follow to become better. The importance of having a system is really clear and obvious. You want to have a real system on how you can practice your English on a day-to-day basis, in this case speaking, to actually become better and reap results from every effort that you try to do on a daily basis to become better. So in this video, I'll share the exact system that will effectively help you become better in speaking, and it will make you fluent in English. So you no longer have to worry about anything, because I'm going to give you a system that comes in 3 steps that will eventually make you fluent in English in a very effective way. The first step with the system is smart input versus passive input, meaning you want to prioritize listening to English actively versus listening to English passively. Probably these days when you're practicing your English, you're actually listening to English passively, which means you let words come in one ear and let them go out of the other without having any impact or any kind of transformation in your English level. So what you want to do instead is you want to pick a short YouTube video or even a short listening clip in English that is probably being spoken by a native English speaker. Then you want to listen to that clip for 3 rounds. On the first round, you want to listen to that clip trying to understand the bigger picture of the whole clip. Meaning you want to understand what the speaker is speaking, what is he meaning by his words, or what is the overall or general meaning or the general, concept of the whole video that you're listening to. On the second round, you want to make sure that you're actually looking forward to finding some vocabularies, probably expressions, or even some kind of slogans or any type of word in English that you're completely unfamiliar with. Then what you want to do is you want to have them written on a piece of paper ready to use later. On the third round, you want to have these vocabularies that you just captured from that clip and try to put them into examples into 5 different forms, which means you want to try to use these words in 5 different situations. Like for example, let's say you just jot down the word probably accustomed to. Now you want to use this word accustomed to in 5 different forms in order to express yourself. Meaning when you're using the words, you're actually not just saying random words, but in fact, you're actually trying to use this word, which is accustomed to, in 5 different forms in an effort to try to express yourself in English, not just saying random words like I said before. So this way you can internalize these words, you can actually absorb these words wholeheartedly, and they can actually be absorbed and go into your deepest memory, and you will never forget these words if you use them in such a form, in such a manner. I'm pretty confident that if you use this method of listening, which is called active listening versus passive listening, you can quickly and very effectively become fluent in English, and your level of English will be unbelievably huge, and it's going to be unbelievably amazing for you in the future. So this is called active listening. Yet a lot of people don't pay attention to this practice. They just listen to English, probably podcasts or clips or even movies in a passive way, not trying to actually capture the whole value of the clip or video. If you don't actively capture the things that you don't know, in this case vocabularies in English, then you'll never be able to learn them, even though you listen to them like 1,000 times before by listening passively. Meaning listening passively doesn't actually help as much. Versus active listening will eventually make you fluent in English. It's really effective. It's going to be a really game changer for your English journey, and it's going to be a huge transformative for you down the road. The second step of this system is immediate output, which means you want to speak immediately after you listen to some kind of English media or clip or even watch a movie, which means every time you listen to some kind of English content, you immediately want to speak in English, trying to summarize probably that clip that you watched, or even say the actual core idea of that clip, or even tell your opinion about the clip that you just watched or the movie that you just watched. You can just do these things by probably summarizing, speaking, giving out your opinion or something, which means you just want to speak immediately after you listen to some kind of English media. That's going to be transformative for you. But wait, it's not so easy to just speak in English and launch speaking right after you listen to some form of English media. Why? Because it's not so easy. It's not your native language. It's really difficult because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to feel frustrated because you just listen to somebody who speaks almost perfect English, or even you probably listen to somebody who is a native English speaker and now you follow him up with speaking and you find out that your level of speaking is nowhere closer. It's really a terrible level of English compared to the level of that person in that clip or that media. That's not a good feeling. That's really a bad, disappointing feeling. But let me tell you, you want to make sure that you actually keep practicing, or in this case, keep talking in English, even though you find yourself in the position of making thousands of mistakes. It's okay. It's okay that you make mistakes. It's really fine because these mistakes are your teacher. They're going to teach you how to learn, how to get feedback from yourself, how to do self-correction, which people call, and it's going to be unbelievably amazing and effective for you down the road. Make sure that you keep doing this practice and keep talking right after watching some kind of English media or English content, or even watching an English movie. Trust me, that's going to be transformative for you. Why? Because you just get inspired by how the speaker in that clip or in that movie spoke English, and then you find yourself, or you ask yourself or desire to speak in English in an effort to produce the same probably level of English as the one who was speaking in the video. And that's a really good motivation, and that's a really good starting point for becoming better. The third step of this system is feedback and correction. You know, you'll never get better unless you find a way to find your mistakes or spot your weaknesses and correct them actively. Which means a lot of people, when they're practicing English, they think that only practicing or only spending probably hours, tons of hours practicing their English, they will get better in this process in this way. But they'll never get better unless they find a way to spot their mistakes, spot their weaknesses, to correct them and actively work on them. Which means it's really important and it's really the core idea of improvement. Now, you want to find probably some kind of tool to receive your feedback. Like the first way is you want to record yourself, you want to record your voice and listen to your voice later, and then try to find how many mistakes you make probably, or how sometimes your mind goes blank when you're speaking, or any other kind of problem that is probably familiar to yourself. Now, by recording yourself, you can spot your mistakes very quickly and in a very effective way. Or the other way you can try to spot your feedback or spot your weaknesses is by asking ChatGPT to correct your mistakes. Probably you want to start a kind of conversation with ChatGPT, and then later ask ChatGPT to give you the feedback of your words, of your speaking level probably. And you want to ask it honestly to give you the honest feedback. Don't get scared of seeing your mistakes on a screen or having your mistakes being acknowledged to you. Do not get scared of this, because this is the teacher that's gonna push you forward, that's gonna actually make you fluent in English. Or you can also ask some of your friends to give you feedback when you speak English. Meaning you want to have your friend guide it and tell him that I'm going to speak English for a while now in here. I want you to just give me feedback based on how I speak, probably my grammatical mistakes or even my pronunciation mistakes or any type of error or mistakes that I make when I'm speaking English. I'm asking you to give me the feedback that I need to use to correct myself. These three approaches to receiving your feedback is really transformative. If you can follow this approach of finding your mistakes, actively working on them, spotting them every time, you can definitely and very effectively become fluent in English in a very short amount of time. And I bet that if you follow this practice consistently over time, you will transform your English level, and even your English level is going to be unbelievable to yourself. Why? Because you're actively working on your English and you're actively trying to self-correct yourself, and this is the success mindset that you need to become fluent in English. So here's the actual system that you can follow from now on a day-to-day basis to actually apply this system into your day-to-day English practices. So you want to start with 20 minutes of listening to English actively, which means you want to listen to English actively for 20 minutes straight. And right after to listening to English actively, you want to follow that practice with 15 minutes of speaking and trying to probably summarize or give out your opinion about the video clip that you just watched or listened. Then you want to try to do these things or probably give your summary or something, which means you just want to speak English for 15 straight minutes. And then follow it up with 10 minutes of self-correction, which means receiving your feedback after doing the practice, which means you want to dedicate 10 minutes of your time by spotting or finding your weaknesses, your mistakes that you just made while practicing, either through recording your voice or even asking a friend, like I told you before, to give you the feedback, or even asking ChatGPT to give you the feedback that you need on your mistakes. If you do this for 30 days, then your speaking is going to skyrocket. It's going to be much better than how you are right now, and it's going to be a lot better. Not some kind of magic is going to happen, but the thing that's going to happen on your English, specifically on your speaking level, is going to be noticeable, and it's going to be 1% improvement on a day-to-day basis. That's why it's going to take you 30 days to become better, to master the skills, and you will definitely become better. And this is the system that you need to actually improve your speaking and become fluent in English. But the problem is many learners wait until they feel ready to speak English, to practice their English. They wait until they feel some kind of burst of motivation or some kind of inspiration for them to propel them forward to speak. But the truth is, preparation or readiness does not come by waiting, it actually comes by speaking. And that is the harsh truth that a lot of people don't understand, and that's why they feel stuck in their English journey. If you don't speak English, if you don't push yourself to speak, even though you make mistakes, even though you fear, even though you have a lot of problems, if you don't do that, then you'll never become better. So success comes only by speaking, by doing the thing that you're supposed to do, not just by waiting until you feel some kind of thing that is going to get into you, that's going to push you forward to actually speak and become better. So if you're looking forward to improving your English fluency and speaking fast, don't try to look for complicated systems that promise a lot of things in the beginning, but probably most of them do not reap any results in the future. So you want to try to find systems that are really easy and simple to follow, like this one, which is input, output, and feedback. That's going to be transformative for you if you stay consistent with it. No matter how simple it is, it's going to be the game changer for your speaking fluency in the future. So stay consistent, practice daily, and trust the process. You're going to definitely see the results in the future.